A bunch of worried faces filled the courtroom as the big drama happened. News reporters stood in the back with their pencils ready. Everyone was waiting to write down what became one of the biggest betrayals in reality TV history. At the table, where people sue others, Chanel Brown sat down. Her hands were folded nicely and her face didn't show any feelings. But deep down, she was really angry. This was the moment when years of being hurt, mad, and lied to would finally end. Next to her, Mary Brown sat up straight and stiff. Her mouth was shut tight. This wasn't just about getting justice. It was about finally being heard. Across from her at the other table, Robyn and Kody Brown sat down. Kody wasn't acting tough like he usually does. His fingers were tapping on the desk because he was nervous. He looked really scared. Robyn sat next to him acting weak like always. She was wiping her eyes with a tissue. But nobody in the room believed her fake tears. The judge was a serious-looking woman who was about 60 years old. She banged her hammer to make everyone quiet. All the whispering stopped right away. She looked over her glasses and went through a pile of papers. "You can keep telling your story, Mrs. Brown," the judge said. Chanel took a big breath before standing up. "Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like this video. Now let's get into the latest drama." Years of being lied to felt really heavy on her, but she wasn't going to give up. Her voice was steady and strong as she looked right at the judge. "Kody and Robyn lied to all of us. They made us think they cared about what was best for everyone. They took our money and broke our family's trust for years. But today, we're going to show proof that they lied to this court and to all of us." A quiet buzz went around the room. Kody moved around in his seat feeling uncomfortable. He realized that the people who used to look up to him as the leader of one big, loving family were now staring at him with anger and questioning him quietly. Chanel's voice got stronger as she looked right at him. "We were told that everything would be split equally. That was supposed to be the most important thing in our family. We built our whole lives believing that promise," Chanel told her lawyer while pointing to the pile of papers in front of him. "But what's the real truth? Really, Kody and Robyn were using the family's money to make a nice life for themselves. The rest of us were barely getting by." Mary moved closer to Chanel with her hands held tight in her lap. Chanel kept talking with a serious voice. "We trusted Kody. We trusted you. But you were moving family money into your own personal account the whole time. You said we all had to make sacrifices. You said what we were doing wasn't enough. But really, you were using that money to buy a house for Robyn. You were paying for a fancy lifestyle that none of us ever got to have." Robyn gripped her tissue harder and breathed slowly and deeply. Kody's jaw got tight and he sat up straighter. "That's not true," he said quickly. His voice sounded stressed and defensive. Chanel's lawyer was a smart-looking woman wearing a navy blue suit. She stood up and put a folder on the judge's desk. "These are the money records, Your Honor," she said. "This is real proof that money was moved into an account that only Kody and Robyn Brown could control." The judge took the folder and started looking through the pages. She read the proof that showed they did wrong things. The only sound in the room was paper rustling. Kody's face turned white as he looked over at Robyn. She sat completely still, breathing hard. The judge finally looked up. "Mr. Brown, can you explain this?" Kody moved around uncomfortably in his seat. He licked his lips and stuttered. "This is a big misunderstanding. The choices I made were for the good of the family. There were things that needed to be taken care of." Mary's chair made a loud screeching sound as she jumped up. "No," she interrupted. Her voice was hard and full of strong feelings. "No, Kody, this was not for the family. This was for Robyn and you. The rest of us were left with nothing." Mary kept talking. Her voice was calm but full of anger. "The money you stole from all of us to build a life with her." There was a heavy, choking silence in the room. Kody opened his mouth but then shut it tight. His hands turned into tight fists on the table, and his knuckles turned white. When Mary spoke again, her voice was shaking. "Do you remember telling me that I wouldn't have enough money to buy my own house? You told all of us to watch how much we spent. You said we had to make sacrifices for everyone's good. She let out a bitter laugh. And the whole time you were lying. Robyn was living a completely different life. Finally, Robyn found her voice. But it shook when she spoke. That's not fair. You're trying to make us sound like we stole from you. Janelle's eyes blazed with anger as she turned to Robyn. You did steal from us. You stole everything. And so did Kody. The whispers in the room started again, but the judge stopped them by raising her hand. Order, she said firmly. Then she turned to the lawyer for the people suing. Please continue. The lawyer nodded and held up another paper. Also, Kody is on record saying that he put Robyn ahead of his other marriages. He explained the money transfer by saying Robyn's needs come first. Mary closed her eyes for a moment like she was trying to stay calm. Even though she always suspected it, hearing those words said out loud was completely different. The judge's face didn't change as she looked at Kody. Do you deny saying this, Mr. Brown? Kody breathed deeply and looked around the room like he was looking for a way out. He had always been good at finding ways to escape from uncomfortable situations, but this time, there was no way out. Kody leaned back in his chair and said nothing. The room felt heavy with thick, uncomfortable quiet. The judge waited for a moment, building up the tension before she started speaking again. I conclude that Mr. Brown and Mrs. Brown have lied to this court. From the evidence, it's clear that these money transactions were fake and dishonest. They will pay for it. A collective gasp swept through all the people. Kody let his arms drop, and his head dropped with them. Robyn's mouth was open, but she didn't say anything. There was nothing left to say. Janelle breathed slowly. A feeling of quiet victory washed over her. At the table where people sue, Mary looked up at her. Their eyes met in a conversation without words. Finally, they had won. The truth was out, but that wasn't all. The reality TV star from Sister Wives, who used to be famous for being part of a family with multiple wives, Robyn Brown, had surprisingly started living a normal life with just one man, Kody Brown. She had changed into the perfect example of traditional marriage. The days of multiple relationships were completely gone. Now she was the perfect example of a traditional wife. She wore vintage-style purple flower print dresses and enjoyed being a stay-at-home mom in a huge $2.1 million house. She and Kody both wore matching David Yurman rings. Her house was full of dolls and kids. Robyn, who once strongly defended having multiple wives, was now completely focused on a traditional marriage with Kody, but even with her problems, it seemed like she wasn't willing to let go. Sometimes things go wrong in paradise, she complained on TV, admitting they had problems. Despite her issues with Kody, she seemed determined to make it work for the long run. She admitted that he would sometimes fight about stupid things. Robyn was now showing that old-fashioned idea of the woman who stays loyal no matter what, even if it meant taking on the suffocating values of a time that was gone. Despite leaving behind her old passive-aggressive ways like telling Kody that she would feel disrespected if he married another wife, there was something very much like the 1950s about how she lived. Some people, including me, find this oppressive. During times of great social hardship like racism and widespread fear of gay people, most people were crying out for change. Society demanded everyone to be the same, so there was a huge shift in ideas and attitudes. Flower power was adopted by hippies who threw away the leave it to beaver mentality of that time. Despite these changes, there were women who chose to live like the 1950s, achieving their dream of being housewives from that time. They replaced their appliances and prepared vintage dinner party food like oysters, Rockefeller, and ham jello salad. Maybe they even mixed Manhattan cocktails for their husbands who might look like Don Draper. Mad Men premiered in 1960 when society was about to be completely transformed. Now, even though Kody Brown from Sister Wives isn't exactly like Don Draper, the main character on Mad Men, there are some important similarities, especially when it comes to cheating, but Kody is extremely committed. As the main man of Sister wives, he might sometimes act like Draper, but mostly Robyn is comfortable with him taking the lead. Don Draper, the fake advertising writer, grew up in a time when women had very little control. Kody did the same as a child raised with male-dominated polygamous ideas. Still, Kody's dedication to his relationship is obvious. This is shown in the video above, where Kody openly shows a matching ring next to Robyn's. This connection between the Mad Men character and the reality personality is obvious. It can explain why Kody and ultra-feminine Robyn get along so well. Even though she tried jewelry making for a short time, she seems happy in her wife role, avoiding the pressures of a regular 9-to-5 job. Records show that when Robyn got married, she owed over $33,000 on credit cards. Some of these were for purchases at Victoria's Secret, a company that fought for decades to expand its definition of beauty until it was almost too late. Robyn's life might have looked luxurious on the surface, but her financial past is more complicated. While the traditional wife lifestyle might have its charm, it definitely has its problems. Robyn has to work twice as hard to get along with a man who is often irritable and resentful. In her opinion, he is actually working against their relationship. To me, and I think most people would agree, the traditional wife life only works when the man is a decent partner, not a terrible one. A traditional wife might become too dependent on a cruel partner if he starts out good but becomes a villain later. Like Kody has, Robyn Brown has to admit that she earns her own money from her appearances on Sister Wives. She's not financially dependent on Kody. However, they do fight about how they spend money. Kody likes to save while Robyn likes to spend more freely to make her life better. Chanel has claimed that during their spiritual marriage, Kody controlled the finances. Maybe even now, Robyn needs his approval to make purchases she wants. If this is still the case, Robyn might sometimes feel too dependent on Kody. She may wish to have more say in their financial decisions. As shown when she expressed her opinions on having only one spouse, it seems Robyn might not be getting the same amount of satisfaction out of being a traditional wife. She has children, expensive jewelry, a fancy house, and the white picket fence that people traditionally dream about. But there's still something missing. Based on without a crystal ball on Instagram, it would make someone ask why she spent $70,000 on dolls from Etsy. Though she may simply be a doll collector, if her shopping habits are anything to go by, she could be filling an emotional gap with her purchases. For some people, shopping as a way of dealing with stress can result in money problems. It's possible that in trying to make his conservative wife happy, Kody is overspending on her, as suggested by Gwen Brown on her YouTube channel. Robyn really does need a partner who is stable emotionally and able to deal with life's problems without getting easily upset. Someone better than just another pretty face dressed up in a good suit. Kody is supposed to be the man of the house in the traditional wife role, but he's not doing a good job. He's behaving erratically and showing existential distress. He's not the cheerful father figure Robyn probably thought he would be. Robyn probably thought that he would be happy to be doing monogamy, but actually he isn't. The death of his son, Garrison Brown, has hit Kody hard, and this pain is obviously affecting him. That level of emotional trauma can change a person's perspective on life and completely change their behavior. Even though the traditional wife lifestyle has its advantages, Robyn may be tired of its disadvantages. Relying entirely on a man can be risky. If it doesn't work out, what does a woman have left? Like any relationship, the traditional wife lifestyle is a gamble. While it clearly brings happiness to some people, it's obvious that Robyn is not as content as she once was. There's no right or wrong answer in this situation. It's simply the reality of where she stands. At the same time, Janelle, the hardworking member of the family, is making a bold move and opening a new business venture called Tata Farms. She is as ambitious as Peggy Olson from Mad Men. Like Joan Harris, played by Christina Hendricks, Janelle is assertive, outspoken, and making her own way with her new husband, David Woolley. Mary, with the sweet innocence of Mad Men's Trudy Campbell played by Alison Brie, is starting fresh. She's a bit more edgy and self-assured after her self-improvement and the encouragement of a deserving partner. Though there are obvious similarities between Mad Men and Sister Wives, Robyn and Kody might eventually conclude that their 1950s era fantasy can no longer reflect the reality of their circumstances or the Coyote Pass fantasy life they once pictured. Robyn and Kody might manage to work things out, perhaps. But whether Robyn is really living the traditional wife life or not, either way, they don't appear to be living happily ever after. In the middle of the chaos of Sister Wives Season 19 and all the heated arguments that have served to expose the less pleasant sides of their partnership, it might not be far-fetched at all if the producers decided to highlight Robyn Brown in a proposed Season 20. Kody spent 19 seasons showing off his life with 4 wives. Now only he and Robyn remain, along with the ghost of former partnerships that seem to haunt them both every day. Kody, who pushed away 3 wives, said that his devotion to Robyn is what made his former wives and kids turn against him. But it could be more complicated than that. For instance, even though Janelle and Mary Brown remain invested in Coyote Pass, Kody refuses to sell the land to wrap up the case. Both Mary and Janelle want the land to be sold, but Kody is still in charge and seems reluctant to make firm decisions. He's dragging his feet on the issue. The drama might become even more intense if the focus were turned to Robyn, a far more cheerful and optimistic cast member. Maybe a reorganization of the cast might be in order. As it is, Robyn and Kody appear to be at war with everyone, including themselves. A reality show obviously requires some conflict, but the problem is that the fights are repetitive. Kody never really takes the blame for anything, and this shows that he isn't growing or maturing. He always plays the victim, especially around his long-suffering former wives and some of their children. On the other hand, Robyn Brown has completely transformed. She's never been happier than she is today. If she were to steal the spotlight on Sister Wives Season 20, she could fill the program with a healthy dose of optimism and good vibes. By this time, Kody doesn't exactly present himself as a good role model for audiences. Robyn, by contrast, is a breath of fresh air, providing an interesting opposite to the dark energy Kody and Robyn bring. She was brave enough to go out and find happiness, and it's easy to look up to her for this. She shares these incredible experiences with David as well, and they've even expanded their Airbnb business by renting a second apartment. Their first rental, located in Moab, Utah, is stunning. It's set among majestic red cliffs and beautiful hiking trails. Even Sirius Pettit Brown melts around his mom, showing us the warm, healthy relationships between Robyn and her children. Robyn's presence has the power to inject new life into Sister Wives, transforming it from a show that sometimes feels stuck into something fresh and uplifting. She's open about how fear once held her back, reminding us that everyone must face their fears head-on in life. The metaphorical monsters that try to undermine our peace and dreams can be confronted and even overcome. Robyn serves as living proof of this. While Robyn and Kody may still appear on the show, it's likely they won't be featured as prominently. A shift in focus might be beneficial for everyone involved. The show could potentially end if Kody and Robyn continue their endless fighting with the ex-wives who clearly still hold grudges. If there's no solid resolution on the Coyote Pass issue, how much longer can viewers watch the same scenes play out? With Robyn in charge, Sister Wives could think about love in an entirely new way, one based on bravery, hope, and adventure. Since Kody is still bitter about the breakup of the Brown family, Robyn is clearly the best person to lead. She had the courage to leave the family in order to seek happiness and fulfillment for herself. Kody, though, does not seem to realize that he was the cause of it all, and perhaps never will. Robyn's willingness to sell her share of Coyote Pass for just $10 to close the book on the saga shows her values. To her, freedom and happiness were more valuable than money. A program that has been damaged by long-standing messy feuds might be revitalized by a person like Christine, who is warm and genuine. I wish Christine would take us along on her magical ride, as she knows how to follow the light. The drama on television seems stale nowadays. Even though Kody and Robyn's tension could prove to be the missing ingredient that keeps the show interesting, if they sorted themselves out, they could make a welcome return for a possible season 21 with a sense of gratitude. A brief pause for thinking could provide them with the room to develop, and the entire dynamic would be different. The producers must step in to make that happen because the Sister Wives cast right now is stuck in neutral. In the middle of all the drama, technology is helping Janelle Brown handle her mental health as she deals with her real estate conflicts with Kody. Since she left Kody and the polygamous Brown family in 2022, Janelle has been living in North Carolina, trying to get her new business off the ground. Janelle Brown and her daughter Madison Brown Bush have just made a real estate investment. The season 19 Sister Wives star posted a bold new plan. Talk more, argue less. It seems like she's preparing for a possible fight over Coyote Pass and is looking to arm herself with useful tools. Indeed, Janelle recently shared that she's begun using an infrared sauna to relax after especially stressful weeks. Having to deal with Kody has got to be almost impossible for Janelle. If it takes her a half hour longer in the sauna to psych herself up for her constant war with him, then so be it. It might just be the fight of her life. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates like this. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.